Welcome to the Maral Vegas show, where we talk with locals in the community to highlight one of my favorite things about Vegas. It's people. Hey everybody, and welcome to this show on the Vegas Video Network. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I am so grateful that I am here today. And what is the Maral Vegas show? Well, it's a place where you'll discover that Vegas is more than the Strip. We'll meet some cool people and hopefully we'll learn a thing or two. Today's guest is Chelli Wolford. Chelli, I made a promise to my viewers, okay, that I would bring them the coolest guests on my show. So I am keeping that promise. Meet Chelli, everyone. Sitting here right in front of me is a resilient, strong, and driven woman. She is a Vegas local and the founder and owner of Bloom, which is the first co-working women's space in downtown Vegas. Prior to opening Bloom, Chelli spent most of her professional life surrounded by men. She went to college at the United States Naval Academy and worked in the wireless industry for over a decade as the youngest and only female channel manager. She spent the following 7 years being the business strategist for her brother Pitbull. And yes, everyone, you heard me correctly. That is Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide International Superstar Rapper Singer Pitbull, that Pitbull. Today, we are going to talk to this amazing woman about how she paved her path into making a difference in the Vegas community. Welcome to the show, to the Maral Vegas show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Beautiful introduction. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. You describe the men that you worked for as brilliant men with big personalities, I'm sure, and that one of them being your brother. What? Yes. What was it like working in a predominantly male-driven industry, and what did you learn about yourself from that experience?
Oh, that's such a great question. It was at times really amazing. I learned some of the best business lessons that I've ever had from my business mentors that were men. I was very young, and my bosses at the time, like I was in my early 20s and they were in their 40s, and yeah, it was. I liked being the only woman in the room. I liked learning from really smart men that were articulate and had vision, that were visionaries. So I learned a lot about myself. I learned to stand up for myself. I learned to articulate like what I wanted. And then working for my brother was a whole different level of, it was much more seasoned when I started working with him. And it was funny because we didn't grow up together. So we met when I was 18, he was 10 the first time, and then we reconnected years later in 2007. And I was living in LA, and he had come out for his concert, and we like saw each other, first time in 15 years. Wow. And I'll never forget it because I went on his tour bus. I hadn't seen him in 15 years. And on his tour bus, there's like 2 lines of the most beautiful women you've ever seen of all different types. And in the middle, in the middle is my brother and a red Solo cup. And he's like, "Hermana." I'm like, "Hi." What did I just walk into? So we reconnected, and at the time I was working for a wireless startup called Helio. Wow. And over the past, after that, the next year, he would call me and be like, "Hey, Mama, I need you to come to Miami." And then he'd ask me a bunch of questions. And he'd be like, "Hey, Mama, can you meet me in LA?" And I'd meet him there.
He actually does talk like that?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Mama?
I am Mama. I don't honestly know if he knows my first name. No, he does. But he's, I'm Mama.
It's a great way to be, it's endearing.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you, at first it drove me nuts, and now I adore it. Like, it's really endearing. So what I didn't realize was over a year, he was absolutely interviewing me for, he needed help on his team. His brand was growing exponentially. And he's like, "Mama, I need you on my team. I need an executioner." Yeah. And I was like, "This is so we're clear. I don't really have to kill people, right? Or like execute things or execute people."
Sometimes it might involve that.
Yeah, like the entourage had to get rid of. So I ended up working with him. and coming on his team. And I learned so much. It's interesting because as an older sister, and at that point, you know, I was in the military and I spent time in the corporate world. And so I thought I was going to bring this just wealth of information to him. And I did, but also I learned so much from him. His attitude is so good about his mindset is the best mindset I've ever
Is he really
witnessed.
always that happy?
He is always like, it's about living your life. Like we might not have tomorrow. So, you know, let's do it tonight. So that really is his mindset. There are no failures, only lessons learned. There are, you know, I remember very early on when I was working with him, I was going through some of his sponsorships and contracts and found out because of a tweet wasn't sent out that he had lost $150,000. And I was sick having to tell him, like sick to my stomach. It wasn't even my fault, but I was just like, oh my God, this happened.
You have to relay that information.
Yes. And he's like, it's okay, Mama. That's how much it costs to learn that lesson.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
That is pretty impressive.
So every time now running my own business, when I you know, things happen and I'm just like, that's okay. That's how much it costs to learn that lesson.
Well, I'm not going to argue next time over a little fee or something.
Right.
It's not worth it, right?
Perspective. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Now you moved to Vegas in 2014, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And you felt this strong desire to support women. First of all, what brought you to that pivotal moment where you couldn't ignore that voice inside of you? I think a lot of us kind of know what that feels like to have that voice. And secondly, why was it so important to you to create this special space for women?
It was a couple of things. So for years, even when I was working with my brother in the music industry, I always had this like, I want to do something to help women. I want to empower women. I want to that was just very important to me. I've been surrounded by all these men for so many years. And I joke, but it's not a joke, that I just would like women to have like the same amount of confidence as the most mediocre man I've ever met. And I don't mean that like I love men. It's just the confidence. Like women have a harder time with confidence, and it's more. So it is, and they question whether like, well, I need to go get my PhD before I start my own business, or I need to get a master's in business.
That's what I did. I thought I had to have my MBA. Yes. And then after I did it, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. I don't even think I needed that.
Exactly. And men are just like, oh, they'll figure it out.
Wow.
So when I moved back to Las Vegas, I was I had shut down the digital media company that I had before that was helping my brother and other artists, and I was doing some strategic consulting out of my kitchen, and it would be like 3:00 in the afternoon, and I'd still be in my Lululemon from my workout that morning.
That's the best.
Yeah,
in your PJs.
And I'd be like, have I seen a person today besides my neighbors when I walk my dog? And I'm like, there's a reason that solitary confinement is a punishment in prison. Right. You know, like being around by yourself all day long. So necessity is the mother of invention. I was like, I want to get out of my house. I want to be around other amazing women. And, you know, I just didn't want my house to be my work anymore. So I looked at the co-working spaces around here, and there were only a few at the time. Now WeWork's here and like some of the bigger ones. But there were none that were just for women only. So in my mind, I was like, I want a beautiful space to go to every day. And if you have to work, it should be pleasurable.
Yes.
That's just one of my life philosophies. So a beautiful place, women only. And there was nothing like what I was looking for. And like, that's when the light bulb went off. So it was the years of, I want to help women. I want to empower women. And then wait, there's this opportunity. I should do it.
Right.
Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And we all know that when as an entrepreneur, we face challenges, right? Especially as a woman in business. And what kept you going throughout that struggle? What kind of struggles did you experience, and what kept you going?
I mean, so many. I still have. I mean, it's so many. It's every day something new. And I mean, from the very beginning when I, started my business with a business partner, and then we went our separate ways. So like starting a business, then a business divorce, and then taking on all of it. And it was my vision to begin with. So it's what I love about what I do is that it's the challenge that I chose. So I would rather do what I'm doing any day than making money and building a brand for anyone else. But it's even, you know, men coming in to meet with the owner and, you know, asking me if I'm the receptionist. And, you know, it's hilarious to me. I'm like, no, I own it. I'm the owner. Can I help you? By the way, whatever you're selling, I'm absolutely not going to buy now that you've talked to me like I'm, you know, nobody here. But I think running a business, it's just keeping your mindset positive no matter what. And just every day, I feel like it's a relationship, like a marriage. Every day just going, I chose this. Right. I'm going to keep choosing it. I'm going to keep choosing it.
It's almost like a force though that it's, for me anyway, it does it feel like a force that you can't even question almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
like bigger than you.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Like even in my darkest days where I'm like, why? I mean, because I've invested, Bloom is self-funded. So it is my money that I put in, my blood, sweat, tears money. And even on the darkest day where I'm like, is this the craziest fucking thing I've ever done in my life?
Yes. She finally swore.
Yes. Like, of course it's crazy.
I knew that was coming. It's getting real.
Yeah. But it's so like, it's the crazy thing that I chose. And I love it. I
feel you. I feel you on that. Yeah, it's amazing. Now, Bloom from the interior is beautifully designed workspace. And it's located on 7th and Clark downtown.
Yes.
From the exterior, you can't even tell it's a business, by the way, because it has this like charming house feeling from the exterior. But I've been there a few times, and as soon as you walk in the door, you're welcomed. There's a warm and friendly environment. You are like that guy thought you were the receptionist, but you welcome people when they walk in the door. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's also a place where you can network with other women, which I love. Other women that are in business. Yeah. Tell us more about Bloom and why you chose downtown. I'm a downtown girl. I love downtown. All about downtown. And I'm curious, like, why in that area?
It's funny. I live in Summerlin, so I was actually looking in the Summerlin area at first, and then my real estate agent sent me the listing. And it looks like a California cottage, like house. So at first I'm like, oh, that doesn't even look like Las Vegas. It's so pretty. It's like this tree-lined street. And when I drove down the street and saw it, and then the minute I walked in, I was like, yeah, this is exactly the vibe that I want. I want it to feel homey, but I always say, like, we have all the high-end things that you get from an office. Like we have a printer, you know, copier, scanner, all that. I'm like, just without the fluorescent lights that suck the life out of you.
And
I
cubicles. Hate those fluorescent lights.
They're awful.
Oh, I lived with them for years working in a cubicle.
Yeah. So none of that. Like a beautiful, pleasurable place, like when you walk in. And there's the outdoor area that's so nice, and the orange blossom trees.
Yes, I love it.
It's so pretty.
It is.
And I think it's important to see greenery and trees every day. So I always say I was reluctant at first about downtown, and now I love it so much. And anybody that's like, oh, it's downtown, I want to drive down there. I'm like, it's so easy. It's so easy.
Have you, I find that so inspiring too, because as Vegas local, we all know that people don't like to drive too far.
So crazy.
And I'm not used to that. I mean, if you drive all around Vegas, it's 30 minutes. You can't drive more than 30 minutes. But people are like, what? You're 20 minutes away. I'm not going there. Do you have people that are coming from all over the place?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All over. And I wasn't sure. And I have to say, like, Bloom to me was absolutely like a proof of concept.
Yeah.
If I can get 60 plus women to drive downtown from all over the Vegas Valley to come to this space, then maybe I'm onto something.
That's beautiful. And you're connecting communities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what started as, and this has just been in the last 2 weeks that I've had this aha about what I'm doing.
Another aha. Yay.
Another aha moment. It started as a co-working space, but the truth is it's a culture that I'm creating.
Yeah.
And it's a culture where women feel safe to be who they are. And I don't mean like physically safe. They're obviously physically safe.
Right.
But it's just a different energy when you feel supported and you're around like-minded women, and we talk about everything and share like the fears and the stresses of, you know, juggling business and kids and relationships and all of it, and femininity and masculinity and all of it. You know, absolutely have leveraged my relationships and my learnings from these powerful men. And now I just want to use it to help women so that they achieve their dreams. Because women that feel nurtured and empowered lift up their families and their communities,
they lift other
and then the
people up.
world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about now for me. Like Bloom is the platform. It's like the physical space, but really it's a culture that I'm creating. And I love that it's in Las Vegas. And, you know, Vegas, what would Las Vegas be without women?
Yeah.
It was built on the backs of women. Yes, exactly. But especially Las Vegas, especially the entertainment industry with, you know, the role that women has played here. So I love the idea of this city that's the glamorous and Sin City and, you know, the sexiness, giving back and empowering the women here.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You have a very great quote on your website that I love. I was reading it, dissecting it, and I can personally relate to that quote from my experience as a woman in business. The quote says, "And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." Anais Nin, am I saying that right?
Anais Nin. That's okay.
Anais Nin. I interpret tight in a bud as a feeling of being stuck. We all know that change is very scary, right? Because of the unknown. And, but in order to change, we have to take risk. And that's of course scary.
Yeah.
Bloom wouldn't be here today if you didn't take that risk. So thank you very much for doing that, because we're really grateful that you did.
Thank you.
What kind of advice would you give someone on why it's so important to take those steps and get out of their comfort zone? And you can talk about the quote too if you want, and you know why it was so inspiring to you.
That quote has been a quote that I've read and memorized for probably 15 years.
Wow.
And it was funny. It was my former business partner, when we were coming up with the name of Bloom, that she's like, "Have you ever heard this quote?" I'm like, "Of course, I love that quote." Anais Nin's Cuban. You know, she's an incredible, she was way before her time in terms of what she wrote about. And she was an incredible woman. But when she read me that quote, I'm like, that's meant to be. Like, that of all the quotes that she would pick, this one that has been always in, you know, one that that spoke to me. And it's not lost on me that my blossoming has happened through Bloom. So taking this huge risk financially, personally, and, you know, investing in the women in Las Vegas and hoping, like, we opened October 2nd, the day after the shooting in Las Vegas.
I remember
2017.
I remember that time I came to your opening.
Yeah.
I remember
the grand opening.
Was that in October? I can't remember when it was now.
Yeah,
it was a while
maybe
ago.
It was later in October. Yeah,
yeah,
but it was after, like, the day we opened business was the day after the shooting, and again, that was a moment where I'm sitting by myself in Bloom, going, did I just invest 6 figures so that I'm now sitting by myself in this space instead of my kitchen counter?
Right, absolutely. A lot of people in Vegas did not know how to.
They didn't even know what co-working was.
It didn't. You just were kind of like uncertain about everything.
Oh,
just
yeah.
Like,
I mean, there was such a shock and sadness and palpable grief going on in the city. But I did have someone come in and take a tour that day. And
really?
Yeah, because I think, you know, like, when terrible things happen, the best thing that you can do is just keep your life moving forward. And so there's so many risks I have taken and continue to choose to take with Bloom. And I feel like the best thing that I could possibly do is just walk the talk. You know?
Yeah. And you're doing that. You're doing that.
And I'm around women that are doing it as well. And that hold me accountable, and we hold each other accountable. Bloom has been my blossoming. It's everything, all the things that I learned up into this point, managing teams, building stores, dealing with very eclectic artists, you know, all of it has perfectly primed me for exactly what I'm doing right now. And this is just the beginning. I want to see what my long-term goal is, to become an angel investor and invest in women's businesses here and help them and just show them the ropes and show them, you know, the $5,000, $10,000 mistakes I made.
Yeah.
And hopefully keep them from.
Try to get them not to make those mistakes.
Yeah. Like help them, like shepherd them through the process.
I mean, when you're a business owner, any type of entrepreneur, you have to seek resources because especially doing something for the first time out on your own, I mean, where are you supposed to get the answers, you know? So it's amazing women like you coming out and saying, hey, I'm here to help. Yeah. I needed that when I was, you know, I still need that.
Yeah.
We need it all the time.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you had that aha moment, huh? That it's not just about Bloom. I love that.
No, it's not. It's not about a co-working space. It's not about me. It's about a movement of women feeling empowered and taking risks. And then those ripple effects of what, like economically empowered women.
Right.
That's just better for everybody.
Right. Absolutely.
And like when they feel, like I said, nurtured and supported, then they're going to lift up everybody around them.
Yes. I do have a question about when you look at your website, you have two options. Okay. Not yet a bloomer. Click here or join here. Yeah. Already a bloomer. Click here. So what does it take to be a bloomer? Can I be a bloomer? Am I a bloomer? How does it? What's a bloomer?
So there are a couple of different ways that you can bloom, as I like to say. We have packages and we have memberships, monthly memberships. I will say for anybody that's watching and listening, I'm very close to starting a wait list. So I have just a few spots left because it's very important to me to keep the space and energy. Like I want everyone to have, all the women to have a good experience every day. So there will be no overcrowding. It's not there yet. But I just want to keep it
at a certain place.
Exactly.
You might need to open another one.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. That'll be the next for sure. Next thing. I'm already looking at spaces.
That's great.
But so what it takes to be a bloomer is either you sign up for a membership or you buy one of the packages, and it just depends on. I really try to make it as simple as possible. I'm like, life's hard enough. There's no like you have to sign a long-term commitment. You don't have to give me your firstborn child. It's
usually
month to month.
Places are like that.
I know. I really have learned from, like, don't we all learn that way? Like, from me doing business, having gym memberships where they're like, you have to give 180 days notice and a doctor's note. I'm like, no, I'm just never going to do business that way. So I make it as simple as possible. Everything's included in the membership. And there's different levels, from a part-time to an elite bloomer, which I joke, but that's the truth. Like elite bloomers have all the access that I have without the, huge lease that they're paying every month that I am. So they get to go in earlier, stay later, have events.
That's amazing.
Things like that, yeah.
It's a beautiful space. And I love the upstairs attic. It's an attic, right?
Yeah, the ease.
There's no attics in Vegas anywhere. It's like when I saw that, it made me feel... it reminded me from like the East Coast houses. Yeah. That's where I grew up. So.
I love that room. So I called that room the ease room. All the rooms are named after my core values. And the ease room, which is upstairs, which is just cozy couches and pillows and the softest carpet you've ever felt in your life. Ease room was about this chapter of my life is like, I'm done with the struggle. I'm done with the striving. I'm done with trying to prove myself. I'm done with trying to keep up. Like, I am not doing that anymore.
Yeah, I'm taking a nap.
Yeah. Now it's about ease. Like, I'm working hard, but things are going to flow.
Right.
Because I'm on the exact path that I'm supposed to be on.
That is the best feeling.
Yeah. It is.
Yep.
Ease. Things, you can make lots of money with ease. You can have, it's the idea that you have to, like, I have such a conflicted relationship with the word hustle. Because I like it.
I hope I didn't hashtag hustle.
No, it's fine. It's like, I say it all the time, but, and one of my favorite things that I quote from my brother And it's a long story, but I'll make it short.
No.
We were driving back from the Keys after spending 5 days together. And I joke that I can only spend 5 days with him because otherwise I would end up in rehab or dead. Like I can't, there's only so much, because
does he have that much energy?
He has that much energy. Like we're up till 3 a.m. And then,
And then what time does he wake up?
Like 10. Like he sleeps a few hours. It's amazing. So
we need that.
I know, he has so much energy. So we were driving back and his song came on the radio.
Okay.
And it was him and Neo, Time of Our Lives. And he was telling me how he came up with like the hook and this beat and why he did this and that. And he's explaining it to me. And all of a sudden, because I like to think that I'm Oprah, like, so I'm like suddenly interviewing him, my brother. And I'm like, Hermano, do you ever worry about money anymore? Hermano. Because he has 27 monikers. He's like Armando, Chris, Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305. So I sometimes I'll just call him International Superstar just to like give him a little shit. But I'm like, Hermano, do you ever worry about money anymore? And he said, Mama, I've never worried about money. I've always trusted my hustle.
Oh, wow.
And when he said it, it like hit my heart, and which really means I've always believed in myself.
Right.
I've always trusted myself. And so in that regard, like I love the term hustle for that. Like because for me, it's like you believe in yourself. When you trust your hustle, you believe in yourself. Right. But I think that you can achieve amazing things and wealth and abundance without
killing.
Exactly. Without killing yourself. Yeah. In fact, I don't think you can achieve it that way.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think balance is key. Yeah. Balance is everything. That's what I mean, I've realized that too. I mean, I think that's a little crazy too. You know, you got to do the yoga, the massaging. It's like you got to keep your head in the right space, you know? Yeah. So, well, I am so blessed to have you here today. Seriously. I mean, your energy is amazing. And I do hope that my guests, and I know that they learned a few things today from your experience. And yeah. And that pretty much wraps up the show, unless you have anything else that you'd like to say.
No, I think I covered everything. I really appreciate being here.
Of course.
And you having me and listening to all my stories.
Yeah,
my Blue members get this all the time. So it was funny. I was telling them, I'm like,
they're
going
spoiled.
to go I'm going to be on a show. And they're like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I'm a little nervous, but I like talking, so it should be fine.
You are a fine girlfriend. I could not even see any nerves on you. Please. I do remember when we first met, I felt who needs to end the show? I remember the first time we met, you were so warm to me and you gave me a big hug. And I knew that one day I would have you on my show. I just didn't know exactly when. So I'm glad that it happened.
It happened exactly when it was supposed to, right?
And you know what? You are my first guest on the Maral Vegas show.
I love it. I'm honored.
This is the best way to start. So, but that wraps up my show. So thank you so much, Chelli, for being here on the Maral Vegas show today. It was a pleasure, like I said. And thank you to the viewers and the listeners for tuning in. I do want to tell people how to get more information about Bloom. And that's www.bloomvegas.com. And where else can people reach you? Any like social media content?
Yeah, my Bloom Instagram is at BloomDTLV, downtown Las Vegas. And you can follow me on my own Instagram and Facebook at Chelli Wolford, Chelli with a C. Okay. And I love writing. I use Facebook as like my blog, so you'll learn everything about me on Facebook.
I love reading it.
Thank you.
I always like your stuff. And don't forget, everybody, to follow me on my social media platforms at Maral Vegas to find out more about my show and my cool guests like Chelli today. If you have any questions or comments, please email me at maral@vegasvideonetwork.com. Now, be sure to tell all your friends about the Maral Vegas show. And this is a mouthful, so I'm going to tell you all the places that you can find the Maral Vegas show on iTunes, Roku, YouTube, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Google Play, Twitter, Facebook. I got more, guys. Any RSS reader, of course, and the Vegas Video Network at vegasvideonetwork.com. I did it. I said it all. See you guys soon. Thank you so much for being here today. Bye.